Hi my loves, we're trying again. I decided to come on and teach you a little something today, honestly, because I've had a couple of questions and everything in my heart is like, you know what? Let's talk about it. So if you are just now coming in, if you're catching the live, awesome. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. And if you're watching this on YouTube, again, leave some comments. Let's connect. Let's get the conversation going. But I dropped a link in the chat, and if you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be on the description so that you can pull your chart and find out your design. But the vision behind this video is to teach you what you can do with human design to understand and improve your relationship. So I wanted to start from the very basics of like, what is it that human design can do and what do you mean it can help my relationship, right? So human design is just a tool. Now this particular tool can be applied to business, personal, relationships. So I like to talk about it as a tool to get to know yourself, to understand your gifts, the areas where you might struggle, the things that you're naturally good at, your strengths, your weaknesses, but it tells you so much more. It tells you what environment you thrive in, how you make decisions, how you basically feel alive, where you come alive, what are your natural things that you have, right? Now, if you can think about it from the perspective of, oh, this is what I bring, whenever you're in relation with someone else, whether that's a partner, a parent, a friend, anything of the sort, they also have a design, naturally. They also have strengths and weaknesses in areas where they need a little bit more support, areas where they shine, areas where they don't, right? So the first thing to understand is when you pull your design is specific to you, and then you pull the one for your partner specific to them. Now, the gift of human design is that it can show you, hey, we're actually two different people. That's the beauty of it. You can actually see it. And because we are different people, this could save me time. Instead of spending 10 years fighting to figure out that you are not somebody that enjoys going out, I could just save you time by telling you that. So the idea behind this class is to teach you the very basics so that when you pull the chart, you're like, oh, this makes so much sense about my partner, right? So we are going to treat it type specific. I'm going to start off the top. I just felt called to do so. So again, if you're catching the live, the link is in the chat. If you are catching the replay, I'll make sure to leave it in the comments or on YouTube in the description, but let's get into it, right? So let's start with the generator types. If you are a generator type in human design, your gift is the fact that you have this life force energy and you can light up any room that you walk into. Right? You literally attract everything you desire, and when you're happy, everybody knows it because you just become magnetic, happy, excited, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. So to give you that example, I'm a generator, right? So like when I'm buzzing, you can feel it. When I'm excited, I'm there. But in relationships, when you're talking about getting along with someone else, I am somebody that needs constant stimulation. And what that means is I'm a busybody. I like to do all the things. My mind is all over the place, right? But a generator in a relationship is somebody who's going to need adventure. They're going to need conversation. They're going to need dates, activities, things to do, right? So if you're somebody that likes to stay home, maybe that, again, it doesn't apply to the type necessarily, but generators tend to be busybodies. They tend to want to do a lot. Generators also have consistent energy in their sacral, which is that square in the belly that creates a generator versus not. So if you are a generator type, whether that is a generator pure or just a manifesting generator, you are somebody that has consistency in the area of sexuality, in the area of day-to-day energy. You just wake up and like your battery is filled all over again, right? And number 3, you are somebody that like your joy literally determines what you attract and what you don't, right? So if you are a generator type in relationships, you do need to be, again, excited. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So why does this matter? Let's say that you're dating a projector. So a projector in human design, their gifts is they're natural leaders, mentors, managers. They see the best in people. They see the bad in people, and they have this penetrating aura. So generator types have this aura that's open and inviting, and it brings everybody in. Projectors energetically are people who they tend to want to give advice. They tend to want to lead naturally. So when a projector and a generator come together, generators are designed to wait to respond. So something happens around them that literally tells them, ooh, I want to do that. Like the little sacral that we talked about lights up and it makes them want to go after the thing. Projectors are designed to be recognized and to be invited. So in a dynamic where a projector and a generator come together, the generator actually has to initiate. And I know it sounds wild, but someone with this much energy who can just be on all the time has to be willing to see a projector and be like, wow, I really love the way they think, or I really love the way they carry themselves. So you recognize them like, hey, projector, you are so smart. I would love to hear more, right? And then you invite them, maybe to a date, maybe to create an invitation of like, hey, I'm open to hang out if you are. That's not asking, but it's opening the invitation. So in relationships, the needs of these two types are very different. For projectors, they need to be seen by their partner because they don't always see themselves. So if your partner, your parent, your child, your sibling, whoever they are, is a projector, I promise you, my love, they do not see themselves. They struggle to see themselves and their strengths. So you telling them words of affirmation like, I appreciate who you are, I love the way that you think, thank you for taking care of that for me, those things go a really, really long way, especially in a relationship dynamic, right? For a generator, on the other hand, they need things to respond to. So generators would need like yes or no answers of like, instead of asking, hey love, what do you want for dinner? Maybe the question should be, do you want a burger? Do you want pizza? Do you want Chinese? It'll be like a full body response when is a yes. So do you see how interacting with the different types can like make or break a relationship? Because you could spend years trying to figure it out, or you could know the basics and then apply everything that you learned through dating. So I'm going to go through all the types as best as I can without losing my train of thought, but let's get into it. So starting with manifestors. At the very top of the food chain, manifestors are the queens and the kings of human design. I know when I say it, they love it because they know they were born to lead. These are the type of people that naturally have an ability to lead, to tell people, hey, I need you to do this, and people move into action. The gift of a manifestor is their powerful voice, and they are able to initiate people by informing. So their strategy, or the way that they make decisions, the way that they're meant to move through life, they are designed to inform and initiate. So what does that look like? Informing is saying, hey, I've made a decision, I'm going to do this. So in relationships, as a manifestor, you have to inform because your energy is closed and your partner can't read your mind. And I know it's frustrating, but if you are a manifestor, my love, you have to speak for two reasons. Number one, because they need to know where you're coming from. And number two, because in you sharing where you're coming from, you initiate your partner. Now, if it's a manifestor, it froze. Let's start that back up. If it's a manifestor dating a manifestor, anybody can initiate in that dynamic. Now, if a manifestor is dating any other type, and again, this applies to relationships with family, parents, children, or partner, right? If a manifestor is interacting with anybody else, you are meant to take the lead. And I know it sounds wild, but think about it. The king and the queen taking orders from someone else, or do they tell people what to do? So in a relationship where there is a manifestor involved, whether that is you or your partner, they are in charge. They don't have consistent energy. They decide when they've had too much, when it's not enough, when they're feeling like doing something, when they're not. If there's a date that you want to go on, even if you are a woman, it's up to you to tell your partner, hey, we should go on a date, or hey, I would like this done, or hey, I would like that done, right? So informing and initiating, and that's in every way. In a relationship where a manifestor is involved, they lead, the partner follows. If it is two manifestors, it creates a little bit of competitiveness, competition, or like two kings fighting with each other, but at the same time, it can work. It's just a matter of informing, listening to the other person, and then making a decision based on your strategy. Now, the second one on the totem pole, starting from manifestors, now we're moving on to projectors, right? Projectors in human design, again, gifted leaders, managers. They're able to see the best and the worst in people. Now, their energy type is very feminine in the sense that they need to be recognized and they need to be invited. That is their strategy, right? However, their energy, their aura is very masculine in the way that they penetrate into people's energies without being invited. So the reason why they need to be recognized and invited is because if they penetrate into your energy and you haven't asked them for their opinion and you haven't asked them to drop into your energy, it can feel very rapey, penetrating, right? So it feels very off, like honestly really off-putting, and they get people to really go off on them, like, why would you say that, why would you go there? So whoever you are in this dynamic, if there is a projector involved, they take the more feminine role of receiving the recognition of like, wow, they see me, they value me, right? But they also need the invitation. So if your partner is a projector and you find that they're not that romantic, or that they don't plan any dates, or that they don't take initiative, maybe they don't know that you need them to do that. So you have to recognize them and tell them the things that you do appreciate, the things that you do enjoy, and encourage them politely for them to do it. So hypothetically, if you're dating a projector man, you know, you hear the word passive, you're like, ew, I want a masculine man. It's as simple as saying, oh my goodness, I love when we go out to eat. We should do that more often. That is you letting them know, hey, I really enjoy when we do this. I'm putting it in your court that we should do that more often. Now, if you are the projector in the relationship, it's about letting your partner know that you don't always see yourself, that you need recognition, that you need words of affirmation, and that if they need you to do something, they need to make it very, very, very clear to you. Hopefully that's making sense. Now, if you are a projector in this dynamic, don't give unsolicited advice. Don't penetrate into your partner's energy trying to fix a problem. It's more of like, if they ask for your opinion, if they ask for your advice, then you get involved. But if you are dating the projector, make sure to get them involved. Ask for their opinion, ask for their advice, because they are wise beyond their years, and they just need you to prompt them and open the door and invite them so that they can help. Hopefully that's making sense. Now, coming from the top again, we've done manifestors, projectors. The next one is the generator type. So I talked a little bit about generators at the beginning, but just to talk basics, generators are here to work. We are here to find work that we love. We are here to be literally lit up and excited because we get to do what we love. Now, if we're in a situation where we don't enjoy our work, we don't enjoy what we're doing, our energy literally dwindles down and we become really, really frustrated, and we're kind of annoying to be around. So 70% of the world is a generator type. What that means is that more than likely you're either a generator yourself or you're dating a generator type, whether it's a mani-gen or a generator. So for both of these types, it's all about their energy. If they love something, they are all in, they are committed, they will go to the ends of the earth for you. If they're not having fun, if they're not enjoying it, if they're feeling frustrated, this is where it creates more of a dissonance between your partner and you. So generator types, because we have consistent energy, we first have to know if we're not dating another generator type, they don't have energy like we do. So for example, a projector, a manifestor, or a reflector, they need naps, they need breaks. They're designed to work 4 hours a day. They're designed to move slower, and they are not lazy because they do so. That is just energetically, they don't have as much energy as we do. So for generators, it's very, very important that we don't make our partner our whole lives, because even if they are a generator type, no one can make you completely happy except yourself. So it's about finding hobbies, things that you enjoy, and being really, really clear that, like, if you're not having fun, if you don't like something, that maybe we need to tweak it, right? Another thing that's really important for a generator, we are designed to wait to respond. So again, it's a very feminine body as far as like, we have to wait for outside stimulation before we decide if we want something or not. So open-ended questions for generator types are a no-no, just because we get lost in the thinking. Versus if you give us something to respond to, like, hey, do you want this water that's right here? We would go like yes or no, depending on the answer, right? So if you are dating a generator, just be really clear and ask very specific questions that lead to a yes or no. A lot of times we will make the decision with our body before we understand it in our brain. So we might be like, oh, I don't know what I want for dinner, but then you throw an option and my whole body's like, oh, that sounds amazing, I want that, right? So it's just being mindful to give your partner something to respond to, and to make sure that you keep them stimulated. And if you can, that you let them know, like, hey, I don't have the energy or the consistency to keep up with you. So especially when it's a dynamic where it's a generator type with one of the non-energy types, you really have to be mindful your partner can't fulfill you. Another thing that plays a role here is if you have children, or if you have really stressful jobs and you're dating a non-energy type, they are not going to be able to do as much as you do. So it almost demands for you to take a more, what's the word I'm looking for, a more involved approach as far as like being in charge. So we tend to have the energy to run errands, take the kids to school, do all the things, versus the non-energy type, they don't always have that luxury to be able to put time and energy towards like playing sports and playing with the kids and dropping them off at appointments. So it's just being mindful that energetically we do have more to give. So we may have to give a little bit more in relationships if we are dating a non-energy type. Now, where it becomes a little bit different between a generator type and a manifesting generator, which is the next type, is that manifesting generators are like 5 people in one body. They have so much energy. They can do all the things. They can move from thing to thing. They don't always finish everything they start. They're bouncing around, like reading 5 books, doing multiple courses, literally all the things at once. So a manifesting generator, there is no way that one person can keep them stimulated enough to keep them focused. So it's understanding that that's just the way that they're wired. And for manifesting generators, them being a hybrid, not only do they need something to respond to, the moment they make a decision, they have to be mindful to inform, because then they become manifestors, right? So what happens when I say they become manifestors is after a decision is made, a manifesting generator tends to go into this nonverbal creative flow where they're like, oh, I'm gonna go do this thing, and they forget that there are people who are affected by that decision. This is very pronounced in manifestors as well. Like once you get into your creative bubble or you're doing something, make sure to think like, does my partner need to know? Like maybe you went out to get coffee and then you were like, hey babe, I'm on my way home. And then as you were leaving, you ran into someone that you knew. And then next thing you know, it's been 4 hours and now you're having lunch with them and building a whole nother business plan. And like your partner thought you were going to be home in 20 minutes. So these are things where you just have to learn to communicate and understand what the other person needs. And keep in mind, this is a very broad overview of all of this. I'm just realizing that people don't really know or understand that like these things can actually help you and save you time and like release some of that friction that's created naturally from being in relationship with someone else, if you understand the way that they're wired. Now the last type, and again, as you're watching, if you have any questions, drop them for me, especially if you're live. If you are in the replay, leave them in the comments, or if you're watching on YouTube as well, leave them in the comments, and I will make sure to make a video to follow up. Now, the last type are the reflectors. So they are less than 1% of the world. And reflectors, if you look at the chart, if you've pulled it, all of the little centers are going to be white. So what that means is that there is no consistency anywhere in their body. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that you have to learn to work with. So if you're a reflector or a projector specifically, and you haven't had a reading or you haven't looked into your human design, you're probably crying right about now because you're like, oh my God, someone gets me, right? But for my reflectors, my love, it's all about understanding that energetically speaking, every single day you get a new flavor. You get a different person. Sometimes they might feel really outgoing. Sometimes they might be more introverted. Sometimes they want to be around the people. Then other times they don't want to leave their room. And I know it sounds unpredictable, but honestly, they bring so much wisdom and they are like a karmic mirror. So if you are someone that brings a lot of good, they're just going to amplify the best things in you. If you are somebody that's really toxic, they're going to amplify the worst in you. So what that looks like is either really toxic relationships or really healthy relationships. So if you or your partner find that you are a reflector, people and places are really, really important to you. So your environment determines the quality of your life. So if you see that your partner gets sick really often, or they're having like, manic depressive episodes or anything really heavy like that, it's usually whoever they're surrounded by. So you kind of have to assess, like, maybe we need to work on some things, or I need to understand where they're coming from. Now, if it's the opposite, where the relationship is thriving and they come alive and they feel protected, then you know that it's a good relationship and that it's working for the better. So with reflectors, because they are so sensitive to the world, being open, anywhere that you're open in human design, it basically means you're taking energy from the people around you and you're feeling it times 10. So while for me, let's say something like fear, like I picked up fear from the people around me because I do have an open spleen, right? I might be scared times 10, but for them it's everything. Emotions, their thoughts, their identity, their sexual energy, the pressure and the stress. So all of the outside stimulus times 10 all over their body. So reflectors really need a lot of time to decompress. They also need alone time. They kind of need breaks from you. They want to be close to nature, whether it's like water or grass or just trees, just so they're able to get outside. Reflectors almost need you to protect them from the world, only because they don't even realize how open and how exposed they are to the world, and it makes them feel like something's wrong with them, when really they're just designed to show us the quality and the health of the people around them. So if you have a reflector, consider yourself blessed. They are amazing beings that have so much wisdom. They are so special. They're probably my favorite type to like work with. But in relationships, they really struggle because they lose sight of themselves. And this applies to projectors and reflectors as well. They tend to only see other people and they don't always see themselves. So they really need their partner to validate the things that they see, the things that they do right, and to almost protect them. Projectors and reflectors need alone time more than most people. So if you find that like your partner's overwhelmed, or they're like, you're fighting a lot and it's not working, honestly, maybe they just need an afternoon to themselves. So it's just a matter of recognizing our differences. So this is where I wanted to go deeper into like human design and understanding how it works in relationships. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because having this information handy could save you so much heartache. For me in the past, it's created this dynamic where like I tend to gravitate to people who are generator types, which is something that I've noticed, but it's only because my mind is so active that I need someone to keep me constantly stimulated. But I have friends that are generators that are in relationships with projectors, and they have found like, no, they need more alone time. I need to take care of a little bit more things around the house. I need to let them know that I see them and like really celebrate them, celebrate their accomplishments, right? If you are dating a manifestor, encourage them to take the lead. Talk to them about, hey, make sure that you're sharing how you're feeling and what you're going through, because tell them you can't read your mind, right? If you are the manifestor in the relationship, start to open up. Start to talk to people, start to move them into action, because if you don't share how you feel, if you don't share what you're going through, then they can't get in your head and figure it out. Again, this is a very broad view at all of this. If you were to get a reading, you actually get way more information. And I'm actually doing a special for Valentine's Day. So the relationship reading actually includes a lot of things. It includes a master class for each of your types. So let's say you're a manifestor and a generator, right? So you will get a master class for the manifestor individually and a master class for the generator individually. Then you would get a reading, like a foundational reading for each of you. So I would be doing a 60-minute reading for you, and I'd be doing a 60-minute reading for your partner. And then I would also be doing a 60-minute reading for the two of you together. So in total, you get 3 readings and then 2 master classes. And this bundle is what I'm going to be doing a sale on. I'll be posting it in my stories later. So if this is speaking to you, let me know, because I'm taking off $333 for like over 5 hours of content, and it'll blow your mind. Because again, this is only taking into consideration the types, but there is so much more. The profiles, the environment, what are the things that they need. And then when you put both charts together and you're able to see like, oh my goodness, this is the place where we come together. We have to be mindful. Maybe you add to each other, or maybe you trigger each other. And it's a matter of understanding how our energy plays together to know whether the relationship is serving or not. And a lot of times, especially if you're in a relationship where you've been long term, there's a lot of conditioning that tends to happen, in conditioning being trauma, right? Because we feel like we have to keep up this idea of who we thought we were at the beginning. But the thing about relationships, my love, is that we all grow. It changes, it ebbs and flows. And when you're dating someone or married to someone, you are literally choosing them for years to come. And at every level, we all change. I mean, imagine how much you've changed just in the last 5 years. Take that with your partner. That's 5 years of 2 different people getting to know each other and literally starting to date again. So the beauty of what this information gives you is just understanding on yourself, so you can go deeper within yourself, and then understanding on your partner, and you can go deeper into that. But my love, if you have any questions, believe me, I'm an open book. Get into my DMs. I actually encourage it. I'm going to leave this video here. I think that was a lot of information for one day. So I hope it served you. If you caught the live, thank you for being here. If you are catching the replay, #replay, leave me your questions below. And if you are watching this on YouTube, my love, why haven't you subscribed? Let's connect. Let's get together. And I will leave the links below so you can pull your chart. And if you're interested in that reading, I love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.